Lily Bennett ran from the mate her pack had chosen for her and straight into the arms of a man powerful enough to make her wolf wake for the first time. Rain blurred the blackwood forest into streaks of silver and black as Lily pushed through the trees, one hand gathering the torn hem of her white ceremony dress. Her bare feet slipped over wet leaves, her lungs burned. She could hear Caleb somewhere behind her. Not close enough to see, close enough to keep running. "Lily!" His voice carried through the woods. "Come back! The ceremony is not over!" She did not answer. She had already given him her answer. No. One small word, the first honest word she had spoken all night. Now every step carried her farther from the moon altar, farther from the watching faces, farther from the future everyone else had decided she should accept. A branch caught the edge of her dress. Lily pulled free and kept moving. She did not know where the forest road led. She did not care. All she knew was what waited behind her. Caleb's hand around her wrist, his quiet warning before the ceremony, the expectation that she would stand before the entire pack and say the words he wanted to hear. "I accept." She had almost said them. That frightened her more than the darkness. Another howl rolled through the trees. Lily's heart slammed against her ribs. She glanced back for 1 second. 1 second too long. Her foot struck a root. She stumbled through a curtain of wet branches and crashed into something solid. No. Someone. Strong hands caught her before she fell. Lily froze. A man stood in the narrow clearing, tall beneath a black traveling cloak, rain shining in his dark hair. His eyes were silver, not gray, silver. For a breath, neither of them moved. Then Lily felt it, a sharp awareness beneath her skin. Her wolf, quiet for years, lifted its head inside her as if waking from a long winter. Lily forgot the rain, forgot Caleb, forgot how to breathe. Mate. The word did not come from the stranger. It rose from somewhere deep inside her. Ancient, certain, terrifying. The man's expression changed too, only slightly. His shoulders went still, his fingers tightened once around her arms, then immediately loosened. Lily jerked backward. He released her at once. No argument, no demand. He simply stepped away. That surprised her enough to keep her from running again. His gaze dropped to the torn ceremony dress, then to the bruised skin around her wrist. Something cold moved through his silver eyes, not anger at her, anger for her. Lily wrapped her arms around herself. The man slowly removed his cloak. Instead of placing it over her shoulders, he laid it across a fallen branch between them. "You are cold," he said. His voice was low, controlled. Lily stared at the cloak. He was an alpha. She could feel that much. More than an alpha, perhaps? His presence pressed against the forest without him doing anything at all. Yet he was standing several feet away, waiting for her to decide whether she wanted what he offered. Lily reached for the cloak herself. Warmth still clung to the fabric. Pine, winter air, something wild she could not name. Her wolf stirred again. Mate. Lily swallowed hard. Then another sound came through the trees. Footsteps. More than one set. Caleb had brought others. The stranger heard them too. His head turned toward the darkness. The calm in his face did not change, but the entire clearing seemed to grow still around him. Lily's fear returned all at once. She clutched the black cloak around herself. "Please," she whispered. The stranger looked back at her. "Please do not send me back." His silver eyes held hers for a long moment. "I will not." The footsteps grew louder. Lily looked toward the trees, then back at the man standing between her and the approaching voices. She still did not know his name. She did not know why her wolf had called him mate. And she had no idea that the man she had just run into was the one alpha every pack in the north answered to. 3 days earlier, Lily Bennett had stood beneath the carved wolf crest of Silver Creek Pack Hall and tried to understand how a debt could become a marriage. Alpha Victor Vaughn sat at the head of the long oak table, calm and polished, while several council members avoided her eyes. Caleb stood beside his father in a dark jacket, looking almost gentle beneath the warm lantern light. That was the part Lily hated most. Everyone else saw a respectable future alpha. She saw the man who never asked what she wanted. "Your mother left obligations behind," Victor said. "The Bennett property, the herb garden, the winter stores. Silver Creek has carried that burden for years." Lily kept her hands folded in front of her. "My mother treated half this pack without charging them, and no one has forgotten her service." Victor smiled without warmth. "That is why I'm offering mercy instead of collection." The word mercy made Lily's stomach tighten. Victor explained the arrangement slowly. If Lily accepted Caleb as her intended mate, the Bennett debt would disappear. Her cottage would remain hers. The herb garden would stay open. The families who depended on its medicine would not lose access to it. Every sentence sounded less like a choice. Caleb finally stepped forward and reached for her hand. "You will be taken care of," he said. Several council members nodded as if that settled everything. Lily looked at him. Her wolf remained silent. No pull, no warmth, no recognition. Only the same uneasy stillness she had known for years. "I need time," Lily said. Victor leaned back. "The full moon is 3 nights away. That is more than enough." The meeting ended before Lily had agreed to anything. Outside the hall, evening air rushed cold against her face. She had barely reached the stone steps when Caleb followed. "You embarrassed my father." His voice was quiet now. Different. Lily turned. "I did not say anything disrespectful." Caleb took her wrist. "Not violently. Not enough for anyone across the courtyard to notice. Just firmly enough to stop her from leaving. You made him repeat himself." Lily looked down at his hand. "Let go." His jaw tightened. "After the ceremony, you will understand how this works." Her pulse quickened. "What does that mean?" Caleb leaned closer, his expression still pleasant for anyone watching from a distance. "It means you will not question every decision I make." Lily pulled her wrist free. A faint red mark remained beneath her sleeve. Caleb glanced at it, then at her face. 3 nights, Lily? Do not make this harder than it has to be." She walked home without answering. Bennett Cottage was dark when she arrived. The familiar scent of dried lavender and cedar should have comforted her. It did not. She sat at her mother's old desk, opened the bottom drawer, and found it sticking halfway. Frustrated, Lily pulled harder. The drawer came free. Beneath it, carved into the wood where no one would ever see it by accident, were words in her mother's handwriting. Lily traced them with one finger. "A bond without choice is not a bond. It is a chain." She read the sentence twice, then a third time. Outside, somewhere beyond the cottage, the pack bell rang once, announcing the beginning of full moon preparations. Lily looked toward the window. For the first time, she wondered whether her mother had been warning her about something long before Caleb Vaughn ever chose her name. The full moon rose over Silver Creek like a silent witness, and Lily Bennett knew before the ceremony began that something inside her had already decided to fight. 3 nights had passed since Alpha Victor Vaughn placed the arranged bond before her. 3 nights since Caleb had held her wrist and told her she would learn not to question him. 3 nights since Lily found her mother's hidden words beneath the old desk drawer. A bond without choice is not a bond. It is a chain. Now those words followed her into Pack Hall. Lanterns burned along the stone walls. White flowers surrounded the moon altar. Nearly every member of Silver Creek had gathered to watch. Lily stood beside Caleb in her mother's white ceremony dress, her silver pendant resting against her chest. Caleb looked calm, proud, certain. He had spent the evening accepting congratulations for a future Lily had never agreed to. Alpha Victor raised one hand, and the room fell quiet. The final part of the ceremony was simple. Caleb would offer the bond. Lily would speak her acceptance. Then their families would sign the local mating contract before the council. Caleb turned toward her. "Lily Bennett," he said, loud enough for the hall to hear. "Will you accept your place beside me?" Every face turned toward her. Lily opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Caleb's smile remained, but his eyes changed. "Say the words," he murmured. Lily heard her heartbeat. She heard the fire snapping in the hearth. She heard someone near the back shift nervously. Then a ceremonial cup slipped from a servant's hands and struck the floor with a sharp, metallic clang. The young Omega who dropped it froze. Lily recognized her immediately. Emily Carter, 19 years old, quiet, kind. She sometimes helped Lily carry herbs from the garden when the baskets became too heavy. "I am sorry," Emily whispered. "I will clean it." Caleb turned on her. "You ruined the moment!" Emily lowered her head. "It was an accident." "Then perhaps you should learn your place before someone chooses it for you." The room stayed silent. Emily's face lost its color. Caleb pointed toward the falling cup. "Pick it up. Then leave." Lily stared at him. It was not the words alone. It was the certainty behind them, the assumption that fear was obedience, the belief that anyone beneath him existed to be corrected. Lily suddenly saw her own future with painful clarity. Today it was Emily being told where she belonged. Tomorrow it would be Lily. Next year it might be every decision she made, every person she helped, every word she dared to say. Caleb faced her again. "Now, finish the ceremony." Lily looked at Victor, at the council, at the people waiting for her to surrender so everyone else could remain comfortable. Then she touched the silver pendant at her throat and remembered her mother's sentence. Her fear did not disappear. Something stronger simply stood beside it. "No." The word was quiet. Caleb blinked. Victor slowly rose. "Lily." She stepped back. Caleb reached for the edge of her sleeve. Lily moved before he could stop her. She lifted the hem of her dress and ran. Voices erupted behind her. She crossed the hall, pushed through the heavy doors, and burst into the cold night air. She did not stop at the courtyard. She did not stop at the pack road. She ran toward the black wall of trees beyond Silver Creek. Behind her, Victor's voice carried through the night. "Bring her back before sunrise." Then came the sound Lily had feared most. Wolves moving into the forest after her. She gathered her white dress in both hands and ran faster, straight toward the darkness where her life was about to change. Lily had no idea how far she had run before the voices behind her faded into the rain. A mile, maybe 2. It did not matter. Her lungs burned, her feet ached, and every dark shape between the trees looked like another wolf coming to drag her back. She kept moving until the ground dipped beneath her and she stumbled through a wall of wet branches. Then she struck someone. Strong hands caught her before she fell. For one breath, Lily forgot how to move. The stranger was taller than Caleb, broad beneath a black traveling coat, with rain caught in his dark hair and silver eyes that seemed almost too bright beneath the moonlight. An alpha, she knew it instantly. Not because he announced it, because the air around him felt different, heavy, controlled, powerful enough that her instinct should have told her to lower her eyes. Instead, something inside her rose, her wolf. The quiet presence that had barely stirred for years suddenly pushed forward with such force that Lily gripped her own chest. "Mate." The word came without sound, without warning. Lily stepped back so quickly that the stranger released her at once. That stopped her. Most alphas she knew took a step forward when someone retreated. He did the opposite. He gave her space. His gaze moved over the torn white dress, the mud along the hem, then settled on the fading marks around her wrist. His expression hardened. "Did he hurt you?" Lily pulled her sleeve down. I am fine. The lie sounded weak even to her. The stranger did not challenge it. He removed his black cloak instead and placed it over a low branch between them. You are cold. Lily stared at him. He could have walked closer. He could have put it around her shoulders without asking. He did neither. Slowly, Lily reached for the cloak herself. It was warm from his body, carrying the clean scent of pine, cold air, and something wild that made her wolf stir again. She wrapped it around herself. Who are you? She asked. A pause. Someone passing through. That was not an answer. Lily knew it. He knew she knew it. Yet there was no mockery in his face, only attention. Then a distant howl rolled through the trees. Lily went still. The stranger turned his head toward the sound. Another howl answered from farther south. The wolves were spreading out, searching. His shoulders tightened, and for a moment, Lily felt the full weight of his alpha presence press across the clearing. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Then he looked at her, saw the fear on her face, and pulled that power back so quickly it was almost as if it had never been there. That frightened Lily in a different way. Caleb used power because he wanted people to feel it. This stranger had power he was actively choosing not to use. Footsteps sounded beyond the trees, human now, close. Lily clutched the cloak around herself. Please, she whispered. Do not send me back. The stranger met her eyes. I will not. 3 figures emerged between the trees. Then 4 more. Caleb stepped into the clearing last, rain darkening his hair, anger written across his face. His gaze dropped to the black cloak around Lily's shoulders. Something in his expression changed. There you are, he said. Then he looked at the stranger standing between them. Move away from my intended mate. The silver-eyed alpha did not move at all. Caleb's certainty cracked the moment the royal guards entered the clearing. One by one, the Silver Creek warriors lowered their eyes. Lily did not. She stared at the stranger standing between her and the life she had just escaped. Your Majesty, the lead guard said. The words seemed to change the air itself. Caleb went pale. Alpha King Ethan Blackwell? Ethan barely acknowledged the title. His attention remained on Caleb. You called her your intended mate. Caleb straightened, trying to recover the confidence he had carried into the forest. There's a lawful agreement between our families. Lily was presented before the Silver Creek Council. Her debt was settled in exchange for the union. Ethan looked toward Lily. Did you agree to that exchange? Lily felt Caleb watching her. 3 nights earlier, that would have been enough to make her hesitate. Not now. No. Ethan gave a small nod. Then we are finished here. Caleb stepped forward. Your Majesty. Silver Creek has its own laws. Ethan's silver eyes sharpened. Silver Creek exists under the Northern Crown. The clearing went silent. Your father may explain those laws to me himself. Caleb glanced toward the royal guards, then back at Lily. His voice softened, but the control beneath it remained. Lily, come home. We can settle this privately. She almost laughed at the word privately. That was where Caleb preferred his threats, away from witnesses, away from questions. Lily drew Ethan's black cloak more tightly around herself. I am not going with you. Caleb stared at her. For the first time, Lily saw something stronger than anger in his face. Fear. Not fear of her, fear of losing control. Ethan turned toward the captain of his guard. No one from Silver Creek follows us tonight. Caleb protested immediately. You cannot simply take her. Ethan looked back at him. I am not taking anyone. Then he faced Lily. You may leave with them if you choose. You may remain here. Or, you may come under royal protection until this matter is examined. Lily blinked. Even now he was giving her a choice? Caleb had called her promised. Victor had called her obligation. Ethan Blackwell, the most powerful alpha in the North, called her nothing at all. He simply waited. "I want to leave," Lily said. "With them?" Ethan asked. She shook her head. "With you." Something moved behind his silver eyes. Relief, perhaps, or something deeper that he hid before she could understand it. Ethan gestured toward the forest road, where a dark carriage waited beyond the trees. "Blackwell Keep is nearly 18 miles north. You will be safe there." Lily followed him several steps before she stopped. "Why?" Ethan turned. Rain slipped from his dark hair. "Why are you helping me?" For the first time since she had collided with him. The Alpha King seemed unsure of his answer. His wolf stirred beneath the surface. Lily felt her own respond. That impossible word rose again inside her. "Mate?" Ethan slowly offered his hand, leaving several inches between them. "You do not have to take it." Lily looked at his open palm. Then she placed her hand in his. Ethan went perfectly still, and Lily suddenly knew there was something he had not told her. Blackwell Keep rose through the morning mist like a fortress built to outlast winter itself. Lily watched its dark stone towers from the carriage window as the gates opened before them. She had expected questions the moment she arrived. Instead, Ethan gave only one order: make sure she has everything she needs. Then he walked away. No demand, no explanation, no claim. A healer cleaned the scratches on Lily's feet and wrapped her sore wrist. After that, a servant showed her to a quiet room overlooking the northern forest. The door had a lock on the inside. Lily checked it twice. By the next evening, she had learned something strange about Ethan Blackwell. Everyone feared him. Guards straightened when he passed. Visiting alphas lowered their voices. Servants moved quickly when he entered a room. Yet Ethan never used that power on her. Whenever they crossed paths, he stopped several feet away. He never touched her without permission. He never told her where to go. That made the question inside Lily even harder to ignore. Why had her wolf called him mate? On the second evening, Ethan asked to speak with her in a small sitting room beside the western tower. Lily almost refused. Then she remembered that he had given her every opportunity to do exactly that. She went. Ethan stood by the window when she entered. For the first time, the Iron King looked uncertain. "There is something I should have told you in the forest." Lily's stomach tightened. "About why you helped me." "Yes." Ethan faced her. "The moment you touched me, my wolf recognized you." Lily went still. Her own wolf stirred immediately, as if answering him. She already knew the word. She simply did not want to hear it. "Fated mate." Ethan nodded. Fear returned faster than Lily expected. "So I escaped Caleb, only to find out the moon chose someone else for me, Lily. Do I belong to you now?" "No," Ethan answered so quickly that she looked up. He crossed to a table and placed 3 things on it: a brass key, a folded map, a small leather pouch. "The key is yours. Your door locks from the inside. No guard has permission to enter without your consent. The map shows every road north and east from the keep. The money will cover food and lodging if you decide to leave." Lily stared at him. "Why would you give your mate away to disappear?" Ethan was quiet for a moment. "Because my wolf knows what it wants. That does not mean I know what you want." His silver eyes held hers. "I will never pretend those are the same thing." Something inside Lily finally loosened. Over the next 2 days, she began leaving her room because she wanted to, not because anyone summoned her. She helped in the infirmary, where the scent of dried herbs reminded her of home. She saw Ethan kneel beside a frightened young wolf pup in the courtyard and wait patiently until it calmed. She watched him listen to a kitchen worker explain a supply problem with the same attention he gave his officers. Trust came slowly, quietly. On the fourth evening, Lily entered the royal archive looking for an herbal reference. A silver symbol on the spine of an old volume stopped her cold. A crescent moon crossed by a single line. She had seen that mark before, carved beside the message beneath her mother's desk. Lily pulled the book free. On its cover were 4 words: Royal Covenant of Bonds. Her hands began to tremble. Whatever Mara Bennett had tried to warn her about 5 years ago, the answer had been waiting inside the Alpha King's home. Lily opened the Royal Covenant of Bonds with trembling hands. The pages smelled of old paper, cedar, and dust. For several minutes, she read without speaking. Then she found the passage. A mating bond could not be recognized under royal law unless both wolves gave clear and willing acceptance before the moon altar. Debt could not replace consent. Family obligation could not replace consent. Even an alpha council could not replace consent. Lily read the words again. Her mother had not written a warning beneath that desk because she feared marriage. Mara Bennett had been quoting the law. "You found something?" Ethan's voice came from the archive doorway. Lily turned. He stopped when he saw her face. "My mother knew!" Ethan approached only after Lily nodded. She showed him the passage, then she explained the contracts used in Silver Creek. The debt, Victor's promise to erase it, the ceremony that expected her acceptance before she had ever chosen Caleb. Ethan's expression grew colder with every sentence. "The language does not match," he said. Lily looked up. Ethan pulled a certified territorial record from a nearby shelf. Silver Creek had filed copies of its local bond agreements with the Crown years earlier. Lily placed one beside the Royal Covenant. The difference was small enough to hide in formal language. One sentence had been removed. The sentence protecting free consent. Lily felt suddenly sick. Victor knew. If this version came from his counsel, then someone knew. Ethan said carefully. He did not give her certainty without proof. Lily appreciated that more than she expected. Then she remembered the symbol beside her mother's message. Mara had served as a council scribe before Lily was 18. She had been removed from her position after publicly disagreeing with Victor. At the time, Lily had believed the Pact's explanation. Mara was difficult. Mara questioned authority. Mara caused division. Now those old accusations sounded different. Ethan ordered an open royal inquiry the next morning. Not a secret message, not an arrest, a lawful request for current Silver Creek bond records and testimony from any family under mating obligation. By afternoon, one name reached Blackwell Keep. Emily Carter. Lily stared at the document. Emily's family owed Victor money. In return, Emily had been promised to an older Silver Creek warrior. The same Emily who had dropped the ceremonial cup. The same girl Caleb had humiliated while everyone watched. Lily sat very still. This had never been only about her. "I can suspend Victor tonight," Ethan said. "I can send guards before sunrise." Lily looked at the Royal Covenant, then at Emily's statement. A week ago, she would have wanted someone stronger to make the problem disappear. Now she understood what that would leave behind. Another powerful alpha making a decision while every omega stayed silent. "No," she said. Ethan waited. Lily closed the book. If you remove Victor quietly, he becomes the victim in his own story. People will say the king wanted his territory. They will say I caused it because I ran. "What do you want?" Ethan asked. Lily thought of her mother, of Emily, of every person who had been taught that obedience was the same as choice. "I want them to hear the truth from someone they were never supposed to listen to." Ethan studied her for a long moment. Then the Alpha King lowered his head. "Then I will make sure they listen." The royal summons left Blackwell Keep before sunset. At dawn. Lily stood beside a waiting carriage with the certified covenant secured in her travel case. 7 days after she had fled Silver Creek in fear, she was going back. This time, she was not returning as Caleb's intended mate. She was returning with the law her mother had tried to protect, and with the Alpha King riding beside her. Silver Creek Pack Hall grew quiet the moment Lily Bennett stepped inside 1 week earlier. She had run from this room, with fear pressing against her chest. Now she returned, wearing a simple dark blue dress, her mother's silver pendant resting at her throat, and a leather case held firmly in both hands. Ethan Blackwell entered, several steps behind her. He did not lead her. He did not touch her. He let Lily cross the hall on her own. Alpha Victor Vaughn waited beside the moon altar with Caleb at his side. "This hearing is unnecessary," Victor said. "A private agreement has been turned into a royal accusation." Lily placed the leather case on the council table. "Then the original law should clear everything up." Victor's eyes narrowed. An Omega does not question an Alpha before his own pack. Ethan stepped forward. His voice was calm. "She is not questioning an Alpha. She is presenting evidence before her king." The room fell completely still. Lily opened the certified royal covenant and found the passage she had read in Blackwell Keep. Her voice was steady as she spoke. No mating agreement could be recognized without clear and willing acceptance. Debt could not replace consent. Family duty could not replace consent. Pack authority could not replace consent. Then she placed Silver Creek's version beside it. One sentence was missing, the sentence that protected choice. Victor called it a clerical difference. Lily opened another document. Emily Carter's agreement. The same sentence was missing there too. Emily stood near the back of the hall. Her face was pale, but she did not lower her eyes. Ethan looked toward her. "Emily Carter, did you freely choose the agreement placed before you?" Emily swallowed. "No, Your Majesty." A murmur spread through the room. Then another woman spoke. Then another family. Stories Lily had never heard began rising from people who had spent years believing silence was safer. Caleb stared at Lily. "You came back to destroy your own pack?" Lily faced him. "No, I came back because people like you taught us that obedience was the same thing as choice." Caleb glanced toward Ethan. "You are doing this for him?" Lily shook her head. "I am doing this because my life was never a debt your family had the right to collect." Victor had no answer that could erase the documents in front of him. His authority was suspended, pending judgment by the royal tribunal. Caleb lost his right to inherit leadership while the investigation continued. Every disputed mating agreement in Silver Creek was frozen for review. The Bennett home and herb garden were protected. And Lily's family debt could never again be tied to her future. When the hearing ended, Lily remained beside the moon altar, the same place where she had once been expected to surrender her choice. Ethan approached slowly and stopped several feet away. The entire pack watched. Some expected the Alpha King to claim the woman his wolf had recognized. He did not. "You are free, Lily," he said. "No contract chooses for you. No debt chooses for you. Not even the mate bond gives me that right." Lily felt her wolf stir quietly. Ethan held her gaze. "So now there is only one question left." "What question?" His expression softened. "What do you want?" Lily looked toward the open doors, then back at the man who had never once closed one behind her. For the first time, there was no one left to answer for her. 1 month later. Lily stood at the edge of Blackwood Forest beneath another full moon. Silver Creek had begun to change. The disputed contracts were being reviewed. Emily had started working beside Lily in the herb garden. Families who had once whispered behind closed doors were finally speaking openly. Ethan had returned to Blackwell Keep without asking Lily to follow him. He sent no command, no reminder of the bond, only a small package of rare winter herbs after Lily mentioned that the infirmary was running low. That was when she understood what had been growing quietly inside her. She missed him, not because her wolf demanded him, not because the moon had chosen him. She missed the man who had stepped back when she was afraid, the man who had placed a key, a map, and enough money to leave in front of her instead of closing another door. Lily followed the familiar forest path until she reached the stream where they had first met. Ethan was already there. No guards, no crown. Just Ethan in a dark coat beneath the silver moonlight. He saw her and stopped. He did not move closer. Lily, hearing her name in his voice, made her smile. "You waited." "I said I would." She crossed the clearing slowly. This time, nothing chased her. Her feet were warm inside sturdy boots. Her dress was simple and blue. Her mother's silver pendant rested over her heart. When Lily stopped in front of him, Ethan searched her face. "Are you sure?" She had imagined this moment many times, but the answer came easily. "For the first time in my life." Ethan still did not touch her. Lily took his hand herself and placed it gently against her cheek. Her wolf stirred, peaceful now. "I choose you, Ethan Blackwell." His silver eyes softened. "Not because the moon chose me." Lily shook her head. "The moon only introduced us. I came back because of the man you chose to be." Only then did Ethan close the distance between them. Their bond settled into place. Not like a chain, but like a door both of them had opened from opposite sides. 3 months later, Lily stood beside Ethan as Luna of the Northern Kingdom. She helped establish Moonhaven, a sanctuary where Omegas facing unwanted bonds could find shelter, advice, and a voice. Mara Bennett's name was restored in the royal records. Emily became Lily's apprentice healer. Silver Creek formed a new council where rank no longer decided whose words mattered, and Ethan was still called the Iron King, though Lily knew the strength she respected most in him was the strength to wait. Maybe that is the real lesson in Lily's story. Love should never demand that someone becomes smaller just to keep it. Power means very little if it cannot make room for another person's choice. Lily spent years believing courage meant enduring what others decided for her. She learned that sometimes courage is simply saying no, walking away, and trusting that the right person will never punish you for being free. I think Ethan proves something just as important. A strong person does not need to control someone to protect them. What do you think mattered more, the fated bond or Ethan giving Lily the freedom to choose him? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if stories about courage, dignity, and love that earns its place in someone's heart mean something to you, subscribe and join us for the next story.